So I want to take you inside my mind into a raw parenting moment that has been a top priority lately within our household. And hey, beautiful, welcome to Naturally Empowered Living, your safe space to guiding you on your unapologetic self-awakening journey. This is your weekly sanctuary for waking up from autopilot and transforming the way you approach life through the power of meditation, energetics, and root cause therapy. It is my mission to help you heal unprocessed emotions and release stuck energies by alchemizing your struggle cycles into opportunities for deep self-love, awareness, trust, and connection, to return to your innate essence of being, stepping back into your energy of alignment. Because here, we honor all parts of ourselves, the messy and the magic, the shadows and the light, embodying all parts that make you, you. So if you are ready to get to the root of cultivating real change, get cozy, grab your journal and maybe favorite crystals, and let's discover our power within together. Hello, beautifuls, and welcome back to another episode of the Naturally Empowered Living podcast. This is your host, Jenna Smith, and let's jump right in because I just want to start with this. It is so humbling when you are when you do the deep healing work and still find yourself struggling in areas of your life. And that's exactly what inspired today's episode and my next certification, to be honest. This draft, I guess, has been sitting in just kind of like my draft folder. I've had this episode written out for a while. And I mean, months ago, I started writing it. And it just never felt like the right time to record it. And the thing is, the biggest expert or the most calmest shaman or the most in-tune healer or any person on this planet is still human, which means we still have trials and hardships and overcomings. And it's hard to accept sometimes. And it's like a big, well, I don't want to say slap in the face, but it kind of is like a big slap in the face when it's like, gosh, I'm doing all this work. I should know the answer. I should be able to overcome it. And it's like, haha. We are ever evolving, ever realigning back into our soul's essence or aligning to our soul's essence. And in full transparency, this episode, I mean, I've had this draft written for a while, but this episode is still going to be a bit of like a brain dump, a little messy and very real. I want to talk about why, or I guess I'll bring in why I'm getting level 2 certified within root cause therapy, which is oh my gosh, I'm so freaking excited because this work, getting the level 2, is being expanded to work with children and so much more on a deeper level. It brings in a lot of emotion code and brings in just other layers and depths of root cause therapy as a whole. But I can work with animals. I could work with children. I'm being certified in different areas in that capacity as well. And it's been so beautiful. And something else that's so beautiful and so honorable and rewarding and humbling and difficult and frustrating and the most incredible job ever is parenting. I've thought so many times, I should completely shift my work to solely work with kids because I don't know if I ever will. I don't think I ever will because I know the generation that I'm in, and even I've worked with people in their 50s and 60s. It's just, I don't think I could ever not work with adults. So I think this expanding to be able to work with kids also is something that I'm destined to do because I will always be that first one in line for the anti-bully meeting or a well-being collaborative within the community or a push for a new curriculum because the next generation, what do we want? Yes, we want to be living well in the now, but what is so important? Raising little humans, raising people to be good human beings. And I just see, I don't know if disconnect or a power struggle is the right terminology, but sometimes I just see there's a missing link between children and adult connection and relationship. There's a disconnect in terms of kids are still human and how they are developing and how they are being responded to and how they are being talked to. It matters. It matters. And I feel of course, I have incredible resources, and I mean, I know that there's a lot of people, like, I feel like attachment theory and connection-based parenting is such on a rise, which is beautiful because that is kind of that direction that I see through that lens that really, really resonates for me. And I also have the trauma-informed lens and a somatic-based embodiment lens and a developmental, psychological lens and an attachment and connection lens. But like, hot damn, it does not mean that I don't get sucked into the struggles still. So one thing that I just want to name in terms of parenting, if you do have children listening to this episode, if you don't, like, I still feel that you will get value. If you are a leader in any capacity, if you are a caretaker or are in any sort of career or just in collaboration with anyone, I do feel that you can still get a lot from this episode. But if you are a parent or anyone listening to this episode, I really encourage you to be kind with yourself as you listen, because I will be the first to admit, when I responded in a dysregulated nervous system state and I raised my voice or had a not so nice tone with my children, like, I am the first to admit, like, I feel so guilty. I have that pit in my stomach, that tightness in my chest. And of course, like, there's power in repair, and we're going to get to that in a second, but it hurts. Like, it hurts so, so hard for me. Yes. But like, I also like feel for my kids too. And oh gosh. So anyway, just to be kind with yourself, because it's so easy to put a label on ourselves or feel like we are messing our kids up, or that you lost your patience again, like I just said, or, that you feel that you're failing them, or you're not doing the best yourself, or whatever, insert your why you're not being kind to yourself here. I hope this episode can give you tips and insights into how to not only take that step back and find your grounding and your regulation again, but also to find the compassion for yourself in the process. So I want to take you inside my mind into a raw parenting moment that has been a top priority lately within our household. And just prefacing for the respect and the energetic exchange, the entanglement with my children, everything that I'm talking about is coming from a heart-centered space filled with integrity and humbleness. Humility might be the better content, fit there. Love, and just knowing that my children are good people, such good people. And my intent is not to come off as blaming, shaming, anything like that. So, real life scenario that's been weighing on me so much lately is the dynamic between my two children. It's just been so, so hard. My oldest has been a bit of a bully to our youngest. And you're, oh yeah, it's just sibling rivalry, sibling this, sibling that. I don't agree with that. Like, I understand. What I agree with is we are all our own individual people. What I don't agree with is any sort of name calling, blaming, shaming. Like, that's just something that we don't do to anyone, right? You hold respect and kindness for everyone, even if everyone, they might not be your friends or your cup of tea or whatever, but you still hold that kindness and respect for everyone. And of course that goes with, people within our household too. So that's kind of what I started with, with the words that we use to ourselves and others, it matters. Or I would say, like, I will not let you talk that way. Just like, when they went through like the hitting phases when they were younger, like, I will not let you hit. That's just like setting that boundary. I will not let you hit. My job is to keep you safe. Same thing with words. Like, words to one another is also keeping you safe, because harmful words hurt. So in this house, we have morals, and we do not hit. We do not kick. We talk with respect. And it was just really tearing me up inside. Not just because of the behavior itself, knowing that the why, or wondering what the why was behind the behavior. Like, why is he acting this way? Like, what is it? Like, what's hurting inside of him? What is the root behind that? Because I personally, I would love to have a fly on the wall, but it's like, we don't talk like that to each other in our household. So where is this coming from? But then also the ripple effect of, what that teaches her, what that might create within her nervous system, the youngest one, being the recipient, or like being the receiver of those words, how it will affect, their bond moving forward. And also going back to, the bullying itself, like that root within there. I said, okay, we don't talk like that within the house, but it's like, okay, what's the protective mechanism here? Like, it doesn't so much have to be, oh, he's just modeling what he's seeing, maybe, from me and my husband or whatever within the house. It could be some other protective mechanism. Like, what is it that and this is how my mind spirals so quickly. What protective mechanism is he, using, and it's projecting on her because, he's older than her. So there's so many different dynamics that I'm just like, oh my gosh, like my mind spins. So of course I do what I do best. I zoom all the way out. Again, like come at it from all angles. I dive deep into research, reflection, read up on everything I can, take every, different perspective that I can find. And I find what resonates with me. And sometimes I, make my own makeshift of different perspectives. Because everything, I say this all the time on the show, down to the core, everything comes back to the same principles. Like everything comes back. Everything is rooted in love, for example. Or like there's so many common principles. So many, since we're speaking of parenting, so many parenting principles are very similar. They just have different terminology. Yeah, they might have different approaches, but all said and done, like there's a lot of the same core principles. So again, as always, I, grabbed every perspective, really resonated my specific situation, what feels aligned for my family. And then I moved forward. And that's just so me. Like I'm not here for anything surface level. Like I'm always looking. And that's just, so it's always been something that I do. I am such the investigator of everything. And then I take that next step and find what feels right and aligned to me or my family. So, I started really paying attention to dynamics, to their relationship, to our household dynamics, to interactions, just observing everything. And here's what happened. This wasn't just like a snap of a finger, flip of a switch. Here we are, like everything's great. Like this was obviously like it took time, but I had repair moments with both of them. And that's the thing. Like I feel like as parents, we're always like, oh my gosh, like this is too late, or I fucked it up already, or, we're all doomed. But repair in parenting is magical. And if you don't know like what repair is, it's like, okay, you did have a heightened conversation, or you did yell, or maybe you said something you didn't mean, or just something in terms of you're like, I came at that from a dysregulated state. I was not calm in that situation. I could have handled that in a different way. You could always repair, have the conversation, apologize, like take ownership, take responsibility, because you can always rewire. You can still release any trapped emotions. You could somatically process the unprocessed energy in the body and replace it with a new inner knowing. And that's the power of root cause therapy, like in a quick nutshell right there. So this is what I did. Kind of like a step-by-step flow over time, progression of what I did. So with my oldest, who was 6, I always came at it from a regulated state myself. So if I had to take a fiver, if you listen to this show, you know what a fiver is. Like, we go take a fiver. We don't do timeouts. We go take a fiver. Regulate first. I make sure I'm grounded. I'm calm. Maybe I take deep breaths in front of them, showing them like, hey, this is what our bodies have to do. Make sure we're grounded before possibly engaging, or if co-regulation is needed at this age, co-regulation is needed. Children, babies, like they don't come into this world being able to know how to regulate. And I am not going to go into all the developmental things, but when children come into this world, they are not able to regulate. And that is why co-regulation, they take the regulation from their caregiver or whoever they're with. And that's on an energetic level, that's on a psychological level. Like you could look that up in anything. Their nervous systems actually entangle, if that word resonates, or they take our nervous systems from us, and that is how they co-regulate. However our nervous systems are. So that's how important it is for us to come from a calm, grounded state before engaging with them. I feel that the amount of scientific evidence behind something as simple as, hey, babies come into this world, the only way they know how to communicate is by crying. So let's take from a calm nervous system parent and teach them until they learn, until I want to say it's in their early toddler years when their autonomic nervous system comes completely online. The beautiful vagus nerve, which is how we experience regulation through our ventral vagal complex, completes its development within those early years. Now, I mean, don't mishear that. Like, the whole frontal lobe of brain does not develop until their mid-20s, or until our mid-20s as humans. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in our development as humans. But for the sake of this, like, kids feel our energy first. Like, that is energetic entanglement. So our calm presence, our self-regulation, our regulation ourselves sets the tone here. So first, number one, regulate first. That's something, again, like, I feel like we could spend lots of time here as parents if you come from a dysregulated nervous system, right? Like, if you experience like these triggers or heightened emotions, or you're not able to come at situations from a calm, grounded space, you tend to react, tend to yell, tend to flip that switch, right? So that's number one. Number two is connect before correct. Begin with connection, not discipline. Like, I feel so strongly when we are so quick to say, because I said so, or no, or, to yell, or to, like, that shuts down, that turns on that fight or flight to anyone else. And that puts someone in that survival mode state. Insert getting defensive, lying, closing up, or, all those things. So beginning with connection, you're saying, hey, I see you. I hear you. I want to understand. Number three is validating a feeling, not the behavior. This really coincides with that connecting before correcting, because I feel that a lot of times it's like that gets merged together. Like, oh, well, you being too soft, or you're too passive, or, they need the discipline, insert all those things. But hey, we're validating a feeling because we all have feelings. We're not validating the behavior. We're not being passive in our parenting. You can still discipline without yelling, without harsh punishment, because you're teaching too, right? Even if the behavior isn't okay, the emotions are real. And that is like that missing link to help validate the feeling, because in turn, that helps regulate the nervous system. It helps strengthen the connection. And ultimately, it will help diminish or correct the behavior without even really needing to be punishing because of the behavior, because the behavior is never the root. I'm getting ahead of myself right now, and I'm stumbling over my words. Behavior is never the root. Behavior is always the symptom. And we are always trying to treat the symptom and not trying to see the root. And you could say that with a lot of things in life. We're always trying to treat that surface level symptom, that surface level, whatever it is, let it be our health, let it be, I'll just kind of leave it there. But we always look at the symptom. Let's take that step back and come from a place where we're interested in understanding the root. Number 4 is naming the impact. The impact being helping develop empathy without shaming. So I could also come at this from a direction of saying building responsibility and building ownership of oneself, right? Naming, hey, this is the action you took, and this was like that cause and effect reaction. Saying, calling someone a bad name and it hurting them, their feelings, it's helping develop that empathy, because it's like, hey, your actions do matter towards other people. So there's so many freaking layers, right? And I have a book at the end of this episode that I will share because it has helped me so much, because there are so many layers and so many scenarios that it could just get confusing, right? It's so complex. And I mean, I'm, again, like calling myself completely out here because this is where my mind goes, because I'm like, okay, how do I explain this? It's not your responsibility for someone else's feelings if you tell them no because you don't want to give them a hug. And that's just, you are setting that boundary. It is your body. You are setting your consent. However, it's also not your responsibility for someone else's feelings, but you were the one that said the bad things to them. And like, that's where it's just like, So this is what I'm talking about. That's where like those, like the explanations behind it. It's like that is why it always comes back to we are treating people with kindness and respect. These are always the words that come out of our mouth, even if we don't get along with someone, even if you don't like someone. I'm sorry. You will still respect them because they are still a human living their own life and living their own journey. So, okay, again, backtracking here, reeling it back in. Number 5 is offering solutions, like giving tools. Next time you feel angry, what else can we do? Can we take a step back? Can we take a fiver? Can we take a few deep breaths? It's creating that pause before responding, because that kind of snaps out of it, right? It helps us snap out of it and regulate in that sense. And lastly is empowering. This is for the older child, like empowering their role, because I also understand the different dynamics of an older sibling and a younger sibling. Granted, I was the younger sibling in my family, so I wasn't the older sibling. However, I understand, right? Sometimes older siblings, they bully out of a need for power or recognition, or, their life was completely turned upside down when a new sibling came in the world and they're just expected to get along with this thing 24/7. And my life was turned upside down. Where's my support? Where's my connection? Where's my recognition? So there's so much going on in these little beautiful brains. So now for the younger sibling, who is 3 in this case. Again, validating, coming from that regulated state, validating their experience. Like, it's okay to feel sad or hurt when someone says or does something unkind. I saw what happened and your feelings make sense. And next, empowering them. It's never okay for someone to treat you that way. You deserve respect. You could always come to me and I'll always listen. Also, teaching boundaries in a safe way. Like, if someone's being unkind, it's okay to say stop, or it's okay to walk away. If you don't feel safe, come to me. And reinforcing worth. Just like empowering the role with my oldest, like I'm reinforcing his worth in that respect also. And then with the youngest, it's like reinforcing the worth that's saying like you are smart, you are kind, since they were getting like the verbal, bullying or whatnot. You are loved. Nothing someone says or does can change that. So the dynamic here, like after having separate conversations, just encouraging that safe repair then between them also. I mean, always coming back to their relationship also. And calling out like, hey, we all make mistakes and what we do after also matters. And is there anything that you want to say to your sibling? And just along those lines, because the big picture here is modeling the emotional awareness on both ends, the boundary setting on both ends, and the repair. And offering outlets for both the older child and the younger child, and offering that safe space for everyone in the situation to express emotion safely, because it was 2 different scenarios under one household, but they were like on both ends of the scenario, right? And I'm sure if you're a parent, like you've been in this power struggle, right? And maybe you don't think as deeply as I do, maybe you do. And I hope regardless that this episode resonates in some way, because working with kids is a little different. And I mean, to note, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a child therapist. I'm a mom who's deeply passionate about understanding how we work as humans, and the work that I do with, working with adults through somatic embodiment, through root cause therapy, through energy healing, through emotional release. I'm a forever learner and helping people process their emotions now rather than carrying them for years like so many of us do. So working with kids is a little different. Because again, like I said earlier, their prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed. So many parts of their brains aren't fully developed yet. However, the psychological, the science component, is the same as the energetic component. That the instant an apology is made, or a conversation is had, or validation is made, or feelings of being heard is made, or a connection is made, bam, like instant softening of that child. So allowing that space of connection versus the power struggle of parenting, saying for the millionth time, like, please don't talk to your sister like that. Trust me, I've been there. This is also what my son shared with me. Like, he told me he didn't want to go to school early anymore, that some kids were being mean to him. Ding, ding, ding. Like, we're getting to the root cause here. We're finally opening up. We're breaking open that protective mechanism now. And now he feels safe. He feels regulated. He feels connected. Let's talk about this. Now I have that situation to work with him, of course, and then also to be able to correct that emotional charge that's being redirected to his younger sister. So that moment right there, helping him regulate, feel the feelings in his body, name them, feel them, connect the emotions to the behavior. My gosh, it helped him make so much sense of his behavior then. Because he's also told me oh my gosh, he's such a sweet soul. He's told me sometimes, like, sometimes I just get in the state and I don't know. Like, I don't understand why I say the things or do the things I do. It's like, baby, you're in fight or flight. Like, that's what that's called. So that's also like a simple concept within root cause therapy, is making that connection with yourself, with your soma, your body, tapping into your inner wisdom to connect, to make that connection, to heal what is stuck or unprocessed, for it to be released and rewired. And I mean, going back to Jace then, like I could help him, build his confidence and work with him now through being on that receiving end, of someone being not so nice to him, also uncovering the many layers, gosh, of social and self interactions. And then to go to my youngest, who looks up to her older brother like he's the entire world. I'd never want her to grow up thinking that this is what love looks like, or that being mistreated is somehow normal. Again, like, this is completely raw, transparent episode right here, like getting into my brain and how like that spiral works. And I'm not saying like she's the perfect angel either. Like, I prefaced this episode also, this is all coming from complete love. But for the sake of this episode and this message, I'm going to just leave it with this one example within my life to help hopefully bring it full circle with you. So now, working on both of these ends, helping my oldest process and understand his feelings, which result in a behavior. And then the youngest, helping my youngest stay empowered and seen and emotionally safe within the specific example. And this is why I'm also like getting certified in root cause therapy, like the level 2, it's called, because I want to help kids get to the root of what they're feeling, why they're feeling it, help them build the emotional intelligence before those emotions get trapped and twisted and stuck, projecting into their lives in ways that I help adults break today, like in breaking self-sabotaging cycles, limiting beliefs, struggle patterns, mental health ailments, addiction, like the list goes on. Like, just think, if we can break those limiting beliefs now, like just think of all that compounded years of stuckness, or the actual responses of hypervigilance, disassociation, avoidance, depression, anxiety, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, because they have the tools. Years. Like now, like I said, I work with adults now, and it's just like we are unpacking years and years and years of trauma and emotional baggage. So let me share some more tools and shifts that I've been leaning on lately to kind of bring this hopefully a little bit more full circle, is validating feelings, not behavior. We are our children's co-regulation until they learn how to do it themselves. We are the examples of how they learn. Like, they need to feel understood and accepted and validated even when they're experiencing strong emotions. Acknowledging their feelings help them regulate their emotions and develop that resilience for themselves. And behavior is a symptom, not a root. I said this earlier. There's always something underneath. Challenging behavior can reveal a child's unmet needs or challenges that they're facing, or an emotion behind an emotion. We've talked about that a bunch on this show before. Understanding the root cause of the behavior allows us to offer more support and understanding and tools to help them. And it's never too late to reconnect, to repair. Like, embrace the power of neuroplasticity. Repair is one of the most powerful parenting tools that we have, because we are never perfect. I shared that earlier. We get triggered. We lose our patience too. Like, we re-enter situations with a dysregulated nervous system ourselves. Like, our brain's ability to adapt and learn throughout our life is so untapped. So untapped. And I encourage us all to embrace that potential to rewire for ourselves and our younger generation. And then that could help, their rewirement, for their development, for their inner wisdom, and for their truth moving forward within their lives. And connection over correction. When a child feels safe, they can regulate. Strong child-parent relationships are crucial for their well-being. And it's our job to create that safe space to help them validate themselves, to know that their feelings aren't bad, to know that they're not scary. So they're not going to shove them under the rug and suppress them for years and years. to offer them a nurturing environment where they could feel loved and supported and understood even through their big emotions. And focusing on a process, not an outcome. I really didn't share this yet, but this one's big. Instead of praising children solely for accomplishments, and okay, I feel like this might get a little bit of backlash. This might be a little polarizing topic. I'm not someone that agrees with like handing out medals to everyone on the sports team. I do understand a little bit of competition. However, focusing on our actions, focusing on the process, focusing on what we have control over, not the outcome. So instead of praising children solely on accomplishments, let's acknowledge the hard work that they do, the effort, the dedication, the commitment that they have, because that is going to help develop a resiliency, a growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset. They feel that they're a failure if they get a B on a test, or they feel that they're a failure if they lose a sport or whatever that might be. And lastly is teaching self-regulation. I mean, this is developmentally age, specific, I guess. It depends on age, but I mean, helping children develop strategies for managing their emotions and calming themselves down, taking that pause, empowering them to navigate difficult situations, because our kids need strategies. And also more than that, I mean, this is like that gut check. They need modeling. They need example settings. And that also means, sometimes owning up when we mess up too, right? So you know what? Like I tell Jace this all the time. I'm like, you're going to know more about emotions and self-awareness than probably half of the adult population. Oh my gosh. But it's so true. Like I want him to feel confident in how he feels, be confident within being himself. And of course, telling Jalen this, my youngest, that's going to come soon too with time. But I mean, that's a pretty big concept to share with a 3-year-old right now, in my opinion. So if you do want advice from an expert, a child psychologist, Dr. Becky Kennedy is like seriously my go-to. Her book changed my world. I bought it on audiobook. I listen to it whenever I'm in the car. I know she has a podcast. I know she has Instagram. I know she has courses and all those other things. But her book, I mean, I've been following her probably for years, like since Jace was born on Instagram. And I would always grab like little tips and tricks. But I mean, her book, I just love how it is like formatted. It's formatted in 2 parts. The first being like the psychology behind it, her principles, explaining her method, a lot of the what and the why. And I'm such a nerd and a geek over that type of stuff. So I loved it. But like part 2, I feel like is almost even better because like that is like the what, why, and the how. Like she gives actual tangible examples, run-throughs of so many different scenarios of like how to handle not listening, emotional tantrums, aggressive tantrums, rudeness, defiance, whining, lying, like so much more. She keeps the why and the psychology part also in part 2 also. So, I mean, I suggest this book to every parent. I love her dearly. I don't know her personally. I would love to have her on the show. And this episode is not promoted for her or endorsing her by any means. I love sharing what I follow, what I use, what I love. And check her out if that resonates, or heck, like if this episode resonates with you, I would love, because I feel like so much was jam-packed. I don't share a lot of episodes on this, and as I'm like looking at the time, I'm like, this probably could have been chunked out into a couple episodes. So thank you for still being here with me, because I know our episodes are quick and like short and sweet and 20 minutes, and here we are. Here's the tip, here's the tangibility, whatever, here we go. This one's a little longer, so thank you for being here. And to close out here, I know in the moments we get so focused, like in the moment, like on the behavior, right? But I want you to like, for you also to encourage you to take that pause. It's not your child being disrespectful or unkind or not listening or whatever the situation is. I truly believe it's an unmet need, a lack of connection, there's a rut underneath the behavior. And by golly, I know how difficult it is to not react. We get triggered, we lose our patience, insert, your thing here. And so often, adults say, oh, just wait till you're a grown up, then you'll have real problems or something along those lines. I feel like I just shared this, in a recent episode, and I get it. But I also think like childhood is so hard in its own way. Like how we support our kids now is shaping the adult experience that they are going to have one day. It's shaping how they're going to act, how they're going to respond, how they're going to feel inside, right? And we're good inside. We are all good inside. And no one deserves to be belittled, shamed, blamed. We all deserve to be honored and validated with whatever we're going through. And I understand, I know I said it before, like there's so many different layers in terms of like different scenarios, but there's also layers of their school and peers and community and so much more. But their home, their caregivers, their loved ones, like they are their safe space. You are their secure attachment. You are their connection and their greatest teacher. So by you doing your life's work, by learning how to hold and come back to your regulated nervous system, to hold the emotional safety and space and awareness for yourself and your feelings, to be aware and understanding of yourself and your children, to heal your stuck energies and unprocessed emotions, also, known as the stored traumas within your body. Please remember, again, like going back to the beginning of this episode, like be kind with yourself. We are not perfect, but to be present and to be honest, to take ownership, to offer a connection, to be willing to be human next to your kids, to offer a repair or an apology if needed, to take that ownership and responsibility. Like this is why I'm leaning into the emotion code work with kids and expanding my root cause therapy to be more inclusive with the next generation. We all come into this world pure. We don't come into this world knowing how to suppress or harm or lie. Like we learn it. We build protective mechanisms within us. We build our response habits and triggers because of our experiences. And the beautiful thing is, like, we could unlearn it too. We could rewire, we could rewrite. So if this episode spoke to you, like, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like I said, I could probably have made this into 2 or 3 different episodes. I feel like I could dive so much deeper in so many different areas. So shoot me a message, tag me in your story, send me a DM. I want to know how you're navigating emotional awareness within your parenting. Any tips are greatly appreciated. And it's just, I love learning about, I just feel, I'm like, I could dive into a book and like be here for days. Like, I just want to learn all I can all the time. And I'm like, hey, Jenna, let's live in the present moment here too. So also, if you're curious about root cause therapy for yourself, it could start with you. Like energy, again, bringing in that entanglement. Energy works in that way. Like you can heal past generational cycles, diminish them from reaching future generations. And also possibly find and release patterns within your life, possibly within your parenting that is triggering you now, into reacting in whatever state that you react in, or triggering you in whatever your triggers are, to release what you've held on to from your past and create space for how you innately want to be leading. So thank you so much for being here and for holding space for these deep, honest, completely vulnerable, real, raw conversations. Nothing is more important than raising my children. And I know that you feel the same, and I just want to help them in a way that they want to be helped and understood. Until next week, as always, simply be you. You have everything inside of you to learn your energy of alignment and be unapologetic in who you are. I'm sending my love and so much light.
Did you find this episode free or empowering? Please read my review. Tickle, boop.
Thank you for spending the sacred time with me on Naturally Empowered Living. If this episode brought you closer to stepping into your energy of alignment, I'd love for you to leave a written review and share how this show has supported your journey. Your feedback truly lights me up and helps others find the space of transformation. And sharing it with someone who might need it spreads the ripple of healing even further. Be sure to check the show notes for ways to connect with me and explore personalized healing sessions and mentorships to deepen your self-awakening journey. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do.